Together we are this voice. Together we make this choice. Together we make this choice. Together, Om Shanti. We're singing Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to your spiritual vaccine hour. We just had a big laugh at Sister Gita before we came on air, so forgive me if I do break out in a big laughter and it's uncontrollable. It took me a lot to even get to this balance right now before we came on. I don't know what it is, everyone. The moment we go live is when Sister Gita is ready to perform. And she's got it, she's like a camera buff. I'm actually not the camera buff, believe it or not. I tend to end up in situations by default. And because I am such a disciplined person, that I kind of stick to something, that once I give a commitment, I stay the course. And it's only until the course says, I don't need you anymore, that I do move on. Very, very rare will I quit in the middle of something, especially when I feel that the lives of other people depend on my responsibility or my dependability. But with Sister Gita, she is just so easy like Sunday morning. But she had a great day today. We had friends over, and we made some really healthy food, idli, sambar, pakora, Antonia's favorite. And you'll be very proud, I did not overeat one bit. I ate moderately, little bit. I was sitting in Baba's remembrance while I was eating. I captured moments of silence and peace. And then ever so often I would share a little bit. And I enjoyed the conversations that took place today. They were very, very beautiful. And to everybody who came by today, I just want to extend my deepest appreciation. It was extremely healing. It was comforting. It was safe. It had so much respect. Everyone felt belong. It was like heaven, actually. It was like signs of the golden age. And of course, there were moments of the commercial break. We had other folks that come in, and Santosh has to be very fast to grab Sister Gita. Don't go and kiss anybody. Just stop. So he had those moments, and I was just cool, easy, like, okay, Sister's going to do her thing anyway. So, can I tell you that yesterday's program and on No still left a beautiful feeling in my heart last night? That even I was replaying what Baba was inspiring through the instrument yesterday. And last night I was thinking about, how easy it is for me to say no, but in what place, like what Akshay said yesterday, that when your consciousness is pure, you can say no, because there are no issues in between the motives in your purity. And I thought about that, you know, Sister Gita, I really did, and it was really very, very touching. So thank you, Akshay. I'm so always open to the learning curve. And whenever we hear something that is pure, authentic, I mean, we've got to start to rewire ourselves to catch something that is simple, genuine. I said this, I think, yesterday too. Simple, genuine, sincere, authentic, real. Like, we have to wire ourselves to create a culture that can nurture that. Because that means you and I don't have to keep wearing masks. Remember when we started the America Meditating radio show, which was 7 years ago? And generally in radio, you have to accentuate your tone. And you sort of have to put a lot of life into the audio. You know, so you kind of have to be like, welcome to America Meditating, and do all of that, right? And I tried it for like the first 2 weeks. And I just turned to Sister Gita and I turned to Baba. I go, look, there's no way I can sustain that illusion, because I suspect this radio show is going to go on for a long time. And on like the second week, you know, I was just like, okay, hi, welcome to America Meditating Radio. Glad you could make it. And I've just kept that tone. And I think why that's been really powerful for me especially, it kept me real, it kept me genuine, and I was able to maintain the energy level. Because the radio show is a hobby, you know, and the fact that we have to be responsible for all the duties for the Brahma Kumaris is not a small thing, because it requires ongoing 24/7 being available for not only the lives of people, but for an organization that's quite large. And you are a part of the ripple, but without you, the ripple would create a ruffle. So, you know, understanding your role of responsibility is really, really important. So just wanted to just take this time to share a little bit of a personal story of my day today and how it unfolded. And, you know, we always love to share the scenes of the day as well. So today is about awakening the soul. And you might have heard me share my awakening when it started. I was in an island at the time, and I just had these really incredible visions and things that I would just see that were very powerful, but it was focused on God's energy. And what was very, very real and very powerful was this gentle entry of God's energy and presence, but it was just an energy, and it was gentle, and it was quiet, and it was pure. And as a result of that energy kind of slipping into my consciousness, not kind of, slipping into my consciousness, it woke up something in me. And when I woke up, I still had the same two eyes that I was accustomed to for 20-something years. But when I looked through my two eyes, I started to see things differently. It was the same two eyes, and I was in the same body, and I was the same gender, and my name had not changed. It was still Jenna. But the energy behind my eyes had changed. And it was a really, really subtle tapping. And it sort of was like a wind that passed through me. Not really forcing or being aggressive or intruding. It was like a gentle wave that passed through me, woke me up, moved on, but left me awakened. I was in India in the early 90s. And when the awakening was happening to me at the time, it was in a Caribbean island. I was living a completely different life. Sister Gita used to pray for me. She prayed so deeply. You know, from running my nightclubs to, you know, dating individuals that were really, really, so, you know, from really going through so much of a completely different lifestyle. Sister Gita prayed for me. How deeply did you pray for me? Every day? Oh, she would say, Baba, please protect her. Baba, please don't let her get caught up in anything bad. And I was like, I was going to do what I wanted to do. But when I had this experience of this energy of light, I'll always remember this image. It was like I was walking on an escalator. I was on an escalator, and on the top of the escalator was this burst of light. I don't know if Santosh can show it if he has the time, but you know, you've seen this light that we show a lot in meditation. It's like a glow of light, Baba's light. And it's at the top of the escalator, and it's calling me. And at the bottom of the escalator, all my friends drinking, smoking, partying. Jen, when are you going to come? And I'm like looking there, and then I'm looking up. And I'm looking there, oh my God, that was so much fun. And then I'm looking up and I'm going, but that feels like freedom. And I'm looking there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm used to that. Then I would look up there and I go, but that's freedom. That's truth. And when I first went to India, the experience was to have a deeper commune with that energy of light. And I did. And I have never been the same. The energy behind my eyes changed. That gentle wind, that awakening opened my eyes. It opened the third eye of consciousness, and I just didn't see the way I saw things anymore. I wasn't a victim. I wasn't thinking about why this would happen to me. I wasn't running after illusion anymore. I was trusting more than ever before. I was ready to be of service. Things just seemed clearer. My friends, who they really were, became clearer. The choices that I made were clear. There was like the future was in front of me. The world had opened up, and everything was about what you were going to do from this point onwards, and that every thought, word, or choice you made would be greatly significant for you. I came across our friend Michael Beckwith's video on 4 stages of awakening, and in a way it's connecting to what I'm sharing tonight, but I thought that what he was sharing was also quite important and quite meaningful towards our energy of an awakening, and I hope that you'll enjoy it. Please take a watch.
Many years ago, I came up with a model of stages of spiritual growth, development, and unfoldment that we can have a wonderful conversation about what that looks like. What came to me, through me at that time, was the 4 stages: to me, by me, through me, and as me. That first stage, something happening to me, I'm a victim. I live believing that something outside of me determines my destiny, my happiness, my success, my well-being. Stage 2, by me, is the stage in which we learn to manifest. We actually use our mind, our conversation, spiritual practices, and we begin to use spiritual principles to manifest the kind of life that we can imagine. It's the manifester stage. Stage 3, through me. It means I've done such rich work in stage 2 that I have an inner subjective belief that life is for me, that the universe is progressive, that something wonderful is always trying to happen, and I learn to yield to it, to surrender to it, to give over to it. This is the stage in which you go into the zone at times. You have a peak experience. Something is operating through you. And then stage 4 is as me. The line of separation is dissolved, and I feel my oneness with all of life with no filter. Stage 1 is victim. Stage 2 is manifester. Stage 3 is being a channel or a place. Stage 4, I'm it. No separation. So in the stage 1, the victim consciousness, we feel disenfranchised from the world, disenfranchised from opportunities. We disenfranchised for what we've inherited from the universal presence. We're separated, we're isolated, we're alone. In stage 2, we use what is often called mind power in the right use of our imagination, creative visualization, high, wonderful conversations, keeping our attention high to create a vibrational match of that which we would want to manifest. It's very masculine. I am using the laws. I am directing my attention. I'm making something happen. Stage 3, it's more feminine. I'm yielding. I'm surrendering. I'm allowing. Because I've come to an awareness that the order that we all depend on, I don't make that order. That order already exists. I'm yielding to it. I'm surrendering to it. Stage 4, the sense of separation is dissolved, and I feel totally at one with life. Stage 2, I'm making something happen. Stage 3, I'm making something welcome. There's a shift. There's a shift. Research has shown that when you know why something works, it even works better. For instance, we know that vitamin C is good for us. But if you actually read something about vitamin C and see the efficacy of how it works on the body temple, then when you take vitamin C, the vitamin C is enhanced throughout your body temple in terms of your immune system, etc. These 4 stages, when you actually study the map, you actually read about it, you actually do the practice, it enhances and expedites your spiritual growth, development, and unfoldment, because now you know why as well as what.
All right, welcome back. Michael's been such a good friend for so many years, and when I came across his video on his stages of awakening, I could relate to it, and I hope you did too. I thought it was important for us to look at, we do go through various stages in life, and deep down for every one of us, we want to be free. And we can't be free without an awakening. When you're sleeping, it's like you're in a bondage to all the karmas of the past. And the karmas can be very deep. And they are connected to energies. When they're deep and they're of the past and they don't give you joy and they don't give you freedom, they are definitely the recordings of experiences that had a lower vibration. Whether it had the vibration of ego in it, or attachment, or greed, or jealousy, or competition. When you live your life from that place over and over and over and over again, you naturally begin to get accustomed to it. And when you start to live a life in which you're just sleeping, and you hang out with people who are sleeping, and you watch television of people who are sleeping, and you listen to music with people who are sleeping, it becomes your norm. So when you get into, it could be either a tragedy, It could be a deep experience of love. They become the two means of waking you up, but to stay awake is really the effort. So we all have to come to some understanding. Who am I? What is the journey of the soul? How am I really traveling here? When I see a good story about somebody rising up above the chaos of his experience, it inspires me. When you watch a movie about the hero, slaying the dragon or the villain, it gives you courage and strength to persevere. But if you see that somebody feels weak, downtrodden, is always walking around with the victim, being pitied, begging for help, wanting everything from something outside of you, you don't feel so inspired with that character. But yet we've all been that character in one way or the other. Each and every one of us. And there's something in the soul, There's this call. You could be anywhere. You could be going through anything in life. There's that call. And the call will keep coming, keep coming, keep coming until you answer. And the answer of that call will be your awakening. And that's when you decide to travel with wisdom. When you begin to travel with your third eye open and not just believe in everything you see with your two eyes. That's when you start to practice to hear, but not hear. Some people might tell you things with their lips, but you can sense their heart. You'll be in such a state of inner silence that you'll be able to sense what's coming and what's needed. You'll be able to transcend the decay and the darkness where the love and the light resides, even though it's right in front of you. That's an awakened soul. An awakened soul has a very intimate, honest, deep, opened, pure relationship with God. And I don't mean connection to God. Connection is different. When you have a connection with someone or something, it can be broken instantly. But when you have a relationship, it takes a lot more thought to decide, am I going to stay in this relationship or am I going to leave it? So when you become an awakened soul and you develop your relationship with God, with Baba, I'm going to use Baba, as you know, it's my term of affection in the Brahma Kumaris. When you have a intimate, consistent relationship with Baba, it goes a little bit like this. The first thought you have in the morning isn't about who's sleeping next to you. Isn't about the fact that you went to bed angry that night. It isn't about what you saw on television. It isn't about how miserable your life might be. When you're having a consistent, intimate relationship with Baba, your first thought when you wake up is, "Morning, Baba." And you are in that remembrance of that divine energy, that pure potential, that undisturbed energy of divinity. And when you walk to the bathroom, it's as if you're going with Baba and you're not alone. Then what happens from that point is you will go and prepare your food and you're talking. You're having a dialogue in your head because you're checking out what thoughts are coming up inside. And you're turning to Baba and go, why would I think that? Would you think something like that? Is there a purpose for me to have this thought? Is this connected to my future? You're having a relationship with the divine energy. It's no longer with your BFF. It's no longer with your partner. It's no longer with a relative. It's with something bigger than you. And so there's like a subtle checking in when you are awakened. And that energy starts to feel comfortable to have and to hold. And it starts to just get expressed with people. Like you start to treat people from the experience that you're gaining in your relationship with Baba. I used to hear people tell me, God knows everything in your heart. And when I became a Brahma Kumari, a Raj Yogi, I go, He doesn't. God doesn't have time to try to check on everything that's going on in my heart. But if I have a relationship with Baba and I tell Baba everything that's going on, then it's like He knows what's going on in my heart. And a lot of us don't check in a lot with Baba because we're still sleeping. And when you check in with Baba, it means transformation. It doesn't mean you stay the same. So we are travelers. And we are finding our balance in the journey. And when the soul is awakened, it will recognize itself. And it will seek that which is only true. But it will travel with wisdom. And it will pick up only jewels along the way. And even if it has a test and a challenge, it looks at it as a gift. This is a boon. This is my blessing. Because the awakened soul knows anything that happens to you is actually happening for you. So let's take a travel for the next 10 minutes and journey with the Tao and hear what the Tao has to say in terms of how your soul will be awakened when there's a deep understanding that you are on a journey, you are traveling, and one very special day, and it could be tonight, you just might awaken.
The traveller is the diamond spark, the soul. The traveller is the jewel between the eyes. The traveller is you. The satisfactions of the body distract the mind, like the glittered setting that holds the counterfeit gem. Profit and excess hide the path, like the velvet cloth covers the diamond. And the traveller goes in fear of thieves and robbers. The traveller, the diamond spark, the soul, stands alone. Therefore the wise traveller becomes the sage, only holding on to what is permanent.
The sage never claims to have a soul. What a traveler has can be stolen, or broken, or lost. The traveler is the soul. The soul is the traveler. The soul is you. Take this truth or not, the journey will happen anyway, and you will travel. This is not a choice. The only choice is how you travel. Consciousness is everything. Losing soul consciousness, the traveler carries the 1,001 fears with all their names. These all are extra weight, unnecessary baggage. The road will seem longer, the journey more difficult. Remember who you are and travel light.
Remember who you are and travel light.
The wise traveler walks alone, for the path to the top of the mountain is narrow. There is room only for two, and the other is truth. Truth is the companion faithful through time. And so the wise traveler never fears solitude. And you are the traveler, unique and undivided, never absorbed. For the path may run alongside another for a while, a journey sometimes shared, but the only companion permanent through time is truth. Like it or not, we stand alone, so we might as well like it. And the wise traveler keeps the Lord of truth like a jewel in the heart, the guarantee that solitude is never empty.
And the Lord of Light gives you the 7 keys. The first is the jewel between the eyes. Without this key, no door will open. With it, the journey begins. The journey begun, the traveler chooses direction. Right direction brings light. One who journeys in the dark is beset by enemies. You do not need to bend time to find me. It is all easier than you have been told.
Simply change your consciousness. Know yourself.
Know yourself. You are the jewel between your own eyes. Know this and come. The sage is guided by what he feels and not by what he sees. Come and know me with your mind.
Minds travel faster than light. Without leaving home, the traveler conjures the past and imagines the future. The sage, careful of his destination, travels soundlessly to a dimension outside of time. Golden red light. Here, union happens. It is this that purifies.
It is here the traveler becomes the sage.
Father and child. Union.
Of silence. This is yoga.
You, the incorporeal, with your incorporeal Father. Relationship.
Just for a moment. Just where you are. Let your thoughts slip into silence. Be still.
Be still.
Thou of the traveler, the journey and the seeker within, the need to know that the soul is what will awaken. It's not just your two eyes. The clock alarms and you open your eyes and you're awakened. The clock alarms, the spiritual clock alarms. You're at a crossroad in life. There's a relationship struggle. There's a health issue. There's a financial test. The clock alarms all the time, asking us to wake up. Every time it asks us to wake up, some of us go back to sleep. We go back to an old relationship, an old setting, an old way of being, because we feel like we're not strong enough to keep persevering, to keep progressing, to keep moving forward. And what I want to tell you, you are more than strong enough to keep moving forward, to keep progressing, to keep persevering. The only challenge is to not look back. Don't look back. There's a character in the scripture, no? In the Bible, and forgive me if I get this wrong, no pun intended. I think the character's name is Lot, and Lot was asked, don't turn around or don't turn back. Do you remember that one, Sister Gita? And Lot, they were supposed to leave the village, and the only order that was given to them by God was, Lot was told, don't look back. And when she looked back, she turned a pillar of salt. What does that mean? What is the symbol of the story? Is that when you turn back, you look back at the bitterness of everything. You might look back at the loss, and you're not looking at what's in front of you, and what the opportunity is, and what the benefit is. And that's the purpose of being awakened. That when you are awakened to soul consciousness, and you recognize that your soul is thinking, it's making choices, and it's creating a deep impression in its personality, then it wonders to itself, do I really need to look back? Because I'm seeking something more, than why am I looking back? Obviously, I want to get out of my past. So how do I do it? I am the living soul. I think, I make choices, and I become. Underline it. I think, think. I make a decision. I pull one of those thoughts from my mind, and I decide to act on that thought. And the third thing is, I become that thought. It goes into my personality. It gets recorded in my sanskaras. And I live with that recording and that impression in the soul for a very, very long time. And if I keep repeating it over and over and over again, it becomes my nature. And when it's my nature, even if somebody says, you can't do this or you shouldn't do this, you go, what? I don't understand what you're saying. This is who I am. But the person sees you at a completely different level. And it doesn't think this is who you are. It thinks you're much higher than that. So our invitation to you is to work on your personal awakening of the soul. And start to listen to the thought behind the thought. Can you try that? Let's give it a little experiment. Let's say right now you're thinking about what I'm saying to you. What is the thought that's taking place behind what you're thinking? It's actually a very deep feeling. It's like, what is she saying? How does that connect to my life? Put aside even all of that and think even deeper. And see if you can get to the thoughts in you that are connected to your original and eternal sanskars. Your original and eternal impressions, your original and eternal sense of belonging. I've given you 3 forms of language that you could choose from to understand what I'm trying to say. It's a very, very deep recording, and it's behind the thought. It's sitting there. It's the real you that sometimes you just don't use. You don't let the real you come up. Simple experiment. I want you to smile. Smile in peace and watch how your system feels. Now smile with love and observe how your system feels. Now smile with an element of innocence. Like, just sweet. And observe how even the energy behind your eyes shifts as you do this very simple practice. Whether you smile in peace, smile in love, or smile in purity, the soul feels it. The soul is actually initiating this action, and it's awakened. Because every time you use the soul in the form of a virtue, it's going to make someone feel better. It's natural. That's what you achieve in meditation and reflection and spiritual practice and consistency and being disciplined and spending time with people who inspire you, reading things that are inspirational, listening to things that make you a better version of yourself, not things that make you dense or put you back to sleep. Awaken, my friends. Awaken. Awaken to your true self. Awaken to the call. Turn to Baba. And Baba will show you a completely different world. The world that's behind your eye is your real world. Okay. So does anyone have any thoughts that they'd like to share tonight? Anything that you're feeling? Perhaps a question, maybe even a realization. Have you had anything new that has happened for you in the last few days that perhaps you've taken from the show and it has just brought you to another level of looking at life? Thank you, Zora, for the clarification of Lot's part. Hello, December's magic. Hail, Praveen Bhai, Asmita. I hope the family's on today, Asmita. Tell them I'm giving them my love and remembrance. Queen Rising, nice to have you, Mukta. Susanna, I want to thank you. I was shown today that you've been posting and sharing the spiritual vaccine on your Facebook page. Thank you. That's what we would like to see, that it's impactful enough that you wish to share it in your community and with your friends to see what you're also taking in for yourself. So I wanted to acknowledge that. I really deeply appreciate that from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you. Because I know that everyone shares something every day, and to take the time and energy to share the spiritual vaccine hour, it means a lot to us. So thank you, Susanna. Sukhya Sian. I hope I did well on that one. All right, Durga from Akshay. Akshay, okay everyone, drum roll. Akshay has a point of realization tonight. We souls take the form of a body to use it as a translator for expressing our intents to the physical world. However, we commonly mistake ourselves to be the translator and not its users. Okay, Akshay, we're coming to kidnap you right now. That is absolutely perfect. You totally got the class today. Denise, your sharing is, I'm more calmer than I was, and I'm not taking in others' trash. This is a big thing, Denise. You might not know this, but to not only be calmer, but to also realize you're not going to own other people's garbage anymore. That's huge. You must celebrate that. That is huge. So, Surbi, I feel like something is coming around to me again and again. Probably that is my awakening point. Thanks for that realization. Very good, Surbi. All right, Samantha, your smile with love, peace, and innocence is so contagious. Always look forward to our time together. Thank you, Samantha. That is so kind of you. That is so sweet. Thank you. That's all Baba. Baba's love. Okay, so any other thoughts? Anyone has anything to share before we come to a closing meditation? It's a really interesting topic, everyone, because we all need to awaken now, and we need to awaken to a deeper aspect of ourselves. And until we get to that place, we won't feel like we've understood what it means to be alive. We're still playing very, very small. We're still playing small, but we have big dreams, big dreams. We have Buddha dreams, and we want to have them fulfilled, but we're not doing the right thoughts. We're not having the right thoughts. So there's a lot of frustration in the soul. And the more we're frustrated, the more we drain energy and lose energy and stop living out our potential. And that's where the pain in the soul gets deeper. So Asha, nice to have you. You are gentle, inspiring, looking at life gently is what I feel touched me these last few sessions. Thank you, Asha. I'm glad that made you feel comfortable, and it was comforting to you as well. Parveen, welcome. I keep talking and talking to him. Sometimes ask him, why is he not giving me any attention? Forgive me if I'm wrong. So, in a way, when it comes on to a relationship with the divine, you can talk to him, but sometimes, Parveen, you just have to pause and become so humble that you wait. And in your waiting, just let it go. Let it go. Because he's already heard you. But I'm suspecting there's something that's blocking. I think he's communicating, but you're distracted by something. If you're worried about something, if something is happening, you need to check that. Because the more you check it, the clearer it'll become. Don't be deceived by thinking that the transformation of your inner being is a quick fix. It's a quick moment, but you still have to sustain it. Because it is a journey, and it's beautiful. You're going to go through some rough patches, you're going to go through some smooth patches. Stay neutral in both. Just get to a place in your being where you can learn to love and accept all that you are, perfect and imperfect. And from that place, Parveen, you will hear God. He needs you to start accepting and loving what you have become first, and you'll feel his energy more and more. Okay? Amanda from Awake TV. Everyone, if you get a chance to tune into Awake TV on Facebook, you'll meet the wonderful crew of Amanda Masters and Jennifer Hill. And I came into contact with Jennifer Hill for the America Meditating Radio, and there's been such an affection for them. So glad that you could listen in. Love listening to your authentic heart and gentle words. Thank you, Amanda, and thank you for giving us the Awake program so that we can keep our lives more inspired and optimistic. Yolanda, I love the instrumental music in the background of the Tao of the Traveler. Good, just Shazam it when you play it back on your YouTube, and you should be able to get a lot. All right. So we're going to say goodnight and wish everybody well and lots of love and peace and light. Queen Rising, your messages are always on point. There is inner work to be done, and no one has a pass. I love the daily reminders of peace and accountability for my own healing. Thank you, Queen Rising. I appreciate you too very much. Praveen Bhai, I hope you're doing better with your saying no's. I was talking about you today, and we had some friends over today, and they were saying, oh, me too. One brother was saying when he first came from India and he was working at a company, he was just saying this, and the guy at the job says, are you telling me no or yes? I don't understand what this means. So he was like, I understand, that's not easy when you come to the West. So Elizabeth Parker, glad that you're looking forward to tuning in every night. Gautam, nice to have you. Om Shanti, Dandyavad, nice to have you. Shukriya. All right, so we'll come to a close for tonight. Thank you all. Don't forget, sometimes the whole process of transformation is really only a smile away. You could be so sad that day and so miserable, or you could be feeling so scared, and somebody comes, offers you a smiling gesture, or you watch something with comedy or sweet, and the moment you just smile with love or joy, it changes everything in your system. And you shift. Your journey to your awakened soul isn't a hard one. It's actually very simple. But the universe needs you to start. It needs you to get onto the path and begin your journey. Okay? All right, lots of love and lots of peace and lots of power. Have a wonderful night tonight. Thanks for joining us.
There comes a point for many of us when we feel lost, like something essential is missing in our life. And so we begin the journey of the seeker. And we begin to search the world in all four directions for peace, for substance, for love. We look in the quietude of the forest and in nature. We look to the silence of the sky. We look to the stillness of the sunrise, and though we catch glimpses of peace, they come and go, and somehow we can't hold on to them. We even look to find comfort through our possessions. We look to find a sense of feeling important and valuable through positions and titles, and through relationships. And the only reason we search so deeply is because at some point we had the beauty we feel we've lost. And then the day arrives when we go on the right journey, away from the external, into our own being. There comes a time when the seeker goes within and lets go of all the stories of the world, lets go of all their memories and baggage, and the seeker becomes quiet and finds that the door they had been looking for is within them. when we enter into that door, there is a sacred, beautiful, precious stillness of the soul. And in this stillness we know that we are absolutely divine and connected to the Supreme and Beautiful One. And all of a sudden it becomes very clear that those little pieces of peace we got through looking at the forest or the beauty of the sunset, those were only reflections of the beauty of the soul. They were only mirrors that reminded me that that kind of beauty exists within me. And so the seeker's journey comes to an end when we enter the door of our mind and go into the sanctuary of the soul, unleashing our beauty into the world.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sister Jenna, your host for our new America Meditating segment called Wise-ish. It's your power boost for the morning. It's for you to take your dose for your inner cure. Join us every day, Monday through Friday, from 8:30 a.m. to 8:45 ET. Don't forget, take your dose. See you soon.